Smile. You look gorgeous. Hi everyone, it's Ada here and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So, for today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different, a little bit special for Valentine's Day. So I figured that I would do like a Q&A. Basically, I went on my Instagram and I asked you guys to send me questions or themes that you wanted me to talk about for a Valentine's Day related video, like particularly about like love, relationships, dating, but anything. You could have asked me anything, and I picked my favorite topics to discuss in this video. This is like a face cam style video because I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is Jasmine Lee, and she does videos like this all the time, more like chill, sit down, girl talk videos, and I really enjoy those videos, and they're very like calming and relaxing and entertaining for me. So I figured I would try this out for this video because I really want this video to be relaxing, calming. We're just talking. I wanted it to feel like really personal, like almost like we're on a FaceTime. I also have this Lego set, which is a bouquet of flowers that I started building yesterday, and I have a few more packs to go through, so that I figured that while I sit here and talk to you guys about these topics, I could build some Lego, or I also have some cantaloupe as like a little snack. So yeah, this is just gonna be a really chill, relaxing video, so grab a snack, get in bed, get comfy, and let's talk about love. Alrighty, so I just have the questions on my phone, and there are three main topics or questions that I got that I really want to talk about. Two of them have to do with love, and then the last one is more of like a general broad topic that doesn't really have anything to do with Valentine's Day or love, dating, etc. But I really wanted to answer it because I think it's really important, and this person really wanted me to talk about this certain topic. But the first question that I want to talk about, start off a little bit light, is what to do when you're alone on Valentine's Day. So personally, I have never spent a Valentine's Day with anyone besides like myself or my friends. I've never had a significant other to spend Valentine's Day with, so I have definitely, you know, garnered some experience in this region, and I've learned how to keep myself preoccupied on Valentine's Day and, you know, treat myself and really focus on, you know, how much love I have for myself, and I can show myself that on Valentine's Day through various different means. Valentine's Day is not just about loving like a significant other. You can literally use the day, spend the day however you want, whether that's showing yourself love, showing your friends, showing your family. If you do have a significant other that you are spending the day with, that is amazing. And I'm happy to say that this year might be the first Valentine's Day I'm spending with a significant other. The main thing that I do is I try to spend the day, if I have the time, doing stuff that I love. So I try to watch shows or watch a movie that I really enjoy, like, you know, just those movies or TV shows that really comfort you. So like one of my favorite movies that has been with me since childhood is Finding Nemo, and that was my sick movie. So whenever I felt sick or stayed home from school, I would always put on Finding Nemo, or my parents would put it on it for me, and that was the movie that I watched, and it just brings me so much joy. So Finding Nemo is one of my favorite movies. Love, Simon, I hate to say it because that movie is not the best for representation, but I love that movie, and it meant a lot to me when it first came out. I literally saw it 4 or 5 times in movie theaters. I literally have a phone case, a Love, Simon phone case on my old phone. Like, this was my iPhone 5S, so this was 2 phones ago, and it's a Love, Simon case that I have on it. Like, that's how much I love the movie. Other stuff that I do is I will buy myself a small treat or a small gift. So everyone talks about, you know, like flowers. Like everyone wants flowers on Valentine's Day, like especially like if you are a girl. A lot of girls love getting flowers from their significant others on Valentine's Day, and you know, while I am no exception, I would love to one day receive flowers on Valentine's Day. It doesn't hurt to buy myself flowers because I appreciate myself and I know that I deserve stuff like that. It's just those small little things that you can do to make yourself happy. I love dressing up and taking pictures, so the past few years I will like pick out a cute outfit, dress up, do my makeup, take pictures, and maybe post them on Instagram or just have them to keep and like look back on in a few months to a few years. And it's just the little stuff like that can really make the day enjoyable if you are spending it alone. And I know it can be really hard, especially if you go from like spending Valentine's Day with someone to like the next year spending it alone. Like I know that can be really hard. I've not dealt with it personally, but I can just feel like I can infer that that must be a difficult feeling. But just small stuff like that. Take care of yourself. Maybe have like a self-care day. Do like a face mask. Do skincare. Just buy yourself flowers. Buy yourself like, I don't know, chocolates. Just little small things. You can do a bunch of little small things that will make the day really enjoyable. I don't care if you have a significant other. I don't care if you're spending it with friends. I do not care. Take even a little bit of time out of the day to appreciate yourself and show yourself that you love yourself. I think that's very important because I feel like oftentimes we forget to appreciate ourselves. We're so focused on showing others love that we don't give ourselves enough love. And Valentine's Day is the one day of the year, at least, where you need to show yourself that you are capable of being loved, even if it's just by yourself, because you need to love yourself. It is so important to love yourself in life, because at the end of the day, you might only have yourself like at certain points in your life. So loving yourself should be a priority in everyone's lives. So good. The next question that I got that I thought was really important to talk about is, do you think you need to love yourself before you love someone else? Now, everyone has heard this phrase at least once in their lives. Like, love yourself before you love somebody else. Like RuPaul on Drag Race, at the end of every episode, he says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen? And I think this is a very polarizing topic and a very polarizing statement, question, either or. Because while I do think it is important to love yourself before you love somebody else to a certain extent, I also think that it is possible to find someone and fall in love with someone and then slowly but surely fall in love with yourself. I spent years and years developing my confidence, and in turn I developed a beautiful love for myself, and I love who I am and I love who I've become, and I have always been proud of the person I've been, the person I am, and I hopefully am proud of the person I will become in the future. But there are a lot of people who struggle with self-esteem issues and loving themselves, and it can be really hard. It is really easy to fall into a bad habit of relying on other people to give you that love because you do not love yourself like you should, and it's really difficult. I have a really close friend who struggled a lot in high school with self-esteem issues, was really insecure and not confident in themselves, and they started dating someone when we were in grade 12, and they were madly in love with this person and relied on this person so much to give them that confidence, give them that self-esteem, give them the love that they didn't have for themselves. And then when they broke up a year and a half after they started dating, it crushed them, and they are still healing from that incident to this day because they relied so much on that person to give them love, to show them that they can be loved, to show them that they're appreciated. So to a certain extent, because of situations like this, I do think it is important to love yourself before you give someone else love. But on the other hand, if it is a healthy dynamic and a healthy relationship, I think loving someone else before you love yourself can really help you blossom and grow and develop that love that everyone should have for themselves, because it can be really difficult to have like a strong, powerful love for oneself. And sometimes other people, whether that be friends, family, significant others, can come into our lives and really show us how important it is to be loved and how everyone is capable of love, but sometimes we don't feel like we are. Like before I met my boyfriend, I remember feeling so down and so lonely, and I really had convinced myself that I was never going to find love. And I was confident and I had self-love to a certain extent, but I must say that meeting my boyfriend and like just feeling the love that he gives me over the past year has made the love that I have for myself even stronger. Long story short, TLDR, I do think it is important to have at least some love for yourself before you love someone else, because it will, you know, allow you to love that person even stronger because you have love for yourself. But also, if something goes wrong, if a breakup happens or something goes awry in the relationship, if you end up losing that person in one way or another, you will still have love for yourself that will keep you up and keep you going, and hopefully will act as almost like a net when something bad happens in a relationship, and, you know, a bad incident won't absolutely crush you. But it is really hard, and I understand how hard it can be to develop confidence and, I don't know, love for oneself. And sometimes in healthy relationships, whether that be with significant other, friends, family, etc., those relationships can help you develop love for yourself and help you get to a point where you can love someone while loving yourself. So I think it's really a case-by-case basis. I'd say in most scenarios, it is important to have at least a little bit of love for yourself, because it'll let you love harder, but it'll also protect you in, you know, really extreme, rough circumstances. The last thing that I want to talk about today is about my transition, because someone asked, can you talk more about transitioning? I'd love to hear the whole story, and I think other people would too. Who motivated you, the glowing happy times and the terrible times? I think it would help and speak to a lot of people, and I've been watching you grow up in a sense, and I'm so proud. Hearing people's stories is the best way for me to be a better ally. Who doesn't need one of those? All the best, love. And I talk about my transition quite a bit on this channel, so I originally didn't want to talk about it in this video, but the way this person phrased it, I think it's important to talk about, and I'm going to keep it brief and try to not ramble on, because I've been transitioning for about 3.5, 4 years now, and so there'll be so many things I could talk about, the good, the bad, the ugly, in detail, but I'm going to try to keep it short. But I went to high school with this person. I'm very appreciative for them and that they are an ally to trans people like myself and the LGBTQ community as a whole, so I am going to answer this. Okay, so the first mini question in their larger question is, who motivated me? Now, I first thought I could potentially be transgender when I was in grade 8, so I was 13 years old. And one of the first YouTubers I watched when I started really getting into YouTube was Gigi Gorgeous, and I used to watch her on my TV. I would sit in my chair in front of my TV, probably too close to the TV, let's be real, and I would watch her videos about her transition and just her life in general, but particularly her transition videos, like her surgery videos, or her just talking about how she knew she was trans and blah blah blah. And before I saw Gigi Gorgeous, I didn't really know what being trans was. So her videos really helped me learn what I was feeling and what that actually was, because I didn't know what being trans was before I started watching her videos. So I knew what I felt, but I didn't know how to conceptualize it and put it into a phrase. I was like, I don't feel like I'm in the right body, I feel like a girl, blah blah blah, but I didn't have the word for it. And then I started watching Gigi Gorgeous's videos, and I learned about what being trans was and her whole experience. And Gigi Gorgeous is still one of my favorite role models and influencers to this day. I think Gigi is one of the most courageous, strongest, kindest influencers I have ever watched, and she is one of the most positive role models I have ever seen. Because when I started getting into YouTube, there weren't many trans women on the platform or on social media in general, so Gigi was the only one that I could look up to and follow. And I remember really developing that identity and really starting to understand what it was I was potentially feeling and who I was. And then I remember one day my dad came downstairs, because my room was in the basement at the time, and he was like, what are you watching? And I was like, oh, I'm watching this YouTuber, her name is Gigi Gorgeous, she is a trans woman. This was back in 2014, I want to say. And I remember I was so happy and I was so excited to show him and talk about it to anybody, but he was there at the time and he was asking, so I was really excited to talk about it with him. And he was like, you don't need to be watching that stuff, that's gross, trans woman, blah, 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 like saying kind of transphobic stuff. And I remember that really, really hurt me. I didn't realize until a few years later how much that incident with my dad affected me, because the stuff that he said really put me off of looking any further into what being trans was. And I actually stopped watching Gigi Gorgeous for the most part because I was just so like off put by what he said. At this time I was 14, so I was like, oh my god, like what my dad says, he must be right. So I stopped looking into it. I didn't realize until I actually started transitioning, like over 4 years later, how much that incident affected me. Because if he had been positive and said good things and accepting things about trans people, especially Gigi, because she was the one that I was watching, I probably would have started transitioning 4 years before I actually did. And I feel like it would have saved me a lot of hassle, because obviously I went through male puberty before I started transitioning, and that has caused a lot of insecurities in my life now. But if I had started transitioning and went on hormone blockers when I was 14, it probably would have made me feel even more confident than I do feel today. Like, let's say facial hair. I shave every day because estrogen and testosterone blockers do not stop. They might slow hair growth, but they do not stop it completely. Once you hit male puberty and the hair starts to grow, it's gonna grow until you get it like lasered or stuff. And laser hair removal or electrolysis is very expensive, and I am a university student, so I have not been able to get it yet. And it takes like 6-7 sessions for it to fully go away. So I shave every day. I force myself to shave every day, even if I feel like lazy or just really tired, because if I leave it for a day or longer, it'll start to actually be noticeable. I shave every day because I never want it to be noticeable. And if it gets like even a little bit prickly, I get really insecure. I have hair on like my torso area. It's definitely like thinner and doesn't grow in as much as it did before I started transitioning, but it's still there, and I shave like every 3 to 4 days just because it makes me so uncomfortable and insecure. And besides like the surgeries that I want to get, like laser hair removal is at the top of my list, because if I didn't have to shave my face anymore, or shave like my torso area, or shave like my body in general, I just have a lot of hair, so I have to follow a very rigorous shaving routine because I do not want to feel insecure with myself, or it makes me feel unwomanly, if I'm being honest. And I know women have hair, but it just makes me feel really insecure with myself. And I have worked way too hard to have a lazy day and not shave, and then wake up the next day feeling shitty because I didn't take the 5-10 minutes it took to shave my face or shave my chest or whatever. And I don't like talking about this, which is why this is like the one thing in my transition that I rarely ever talk about or rarely ever bring up on my channel, because it's probably the thing that makes me the most insecure. But yeah, that was the first time I was ever introduced to like what being trans was, and Gigi Gorgeous. And then I discovered like Nikita Dragon, and Gigi Gorgeous and Nikita Dragon were probably the 2 biggest role models I had for years. It probably wasn't until I actually started transitioning that I like found more people to look up to, and like the development of TikTok and the rise of TikTok, and you know, Nikki Tutorials coming out as trans. She's one of my biggest role models these days, and she was before she came out as trans, but now that I know she is trans, she is probably like my biggest role model in life. She is a successful businesswoman. She is amazing at makeup. She has a loving relationship. She is just that girl. The last part of the question that I'm going to answer is some of the very happy times that I've had and some of the terrible times. So I'm just going to list them real quick, maybe give like a brief description, but we'll start with the happy. So happy times, starting estrogen and testosterone blockers. They were 2 separate times. I started testosterone blockers in July 2019, and then I started estrogen in January 2020. My surgery, that was probably the happiest moment of my life, was when I got my surgery in September of last year, and I've never, ever felt as confident as I do today at any point in my life prior to when I got my surgery. Because what I had down there was my biggest insecurity, even bigger than like the hair that I have. I was just so uncomfortable with it, and I refused to like ever be naked. It took me like a good while, maybe like 2 months, before I ever got naked in front of my boyfriend. Getting surgery in September changed my life for the better, and I have no regrets whatsoever going through with the surgery. It has made me happier than I've ever been, more confident than I've ever been, and my self-love has been the highest it's ever been. Some of the bad times, thankfully I haven't had very many rough, bad moments since I started transitioning, but I'd say the biggest thing is the transphobia that I faced online, on dating apps especially. Like, dating is hard in general, but as a trans woman it is so incredibly difficult, and I don't want to be like, woe is me. But before I met my boyfriend, like, I was so sad, and whether it was Tinder or Hinge or Bumble, I couldn't use anything. I was scared to use any dating apps, and I was scared to send I'm still scared to send the first message on a dating app or like someone first, especially on like Tinder and stuff. And Bumble, like, Bumble was my worst nightmare because girls have to make the first move or start the conversation. And you know, I am going to say it, I didn't really pass like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and like, I'm still clockable today. I hate those terms, but you know, heteronormative society, those are terms that are used quite often. And you know, out of all of them, Bumble was the worst because you had, like, I had to make the first move, and I was often unmatched. That's probably the biggest like bad experience that comes from being trans. Like, it's just something that I will probably deal with for the rest of my life. It's just the transphobia and the hate and just rude, awful people. Alrighty everyone, that is all I have to talk about today. I have rambled long enough. I don't want this video to be too long, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this little sit down, personal Valentine's Day chat about love, dating, relationships, and my transition. Surprisingly, I didn't touch any of the Lego, which I had a feeling, but I'll show you some of the ones that I built yesterday. So this is the rose, and I made 3 of these, and then this is a common daisy, and I made 2 of these. And I got like this vase that I thought was gonna be a lot bigger to put these in, but it's really small, and I don't know if I'm going to show this on camera, but maybe I'll just cover up this. But it's like the outline of like a woman's body, and it fits 1 flower, so maybe we'll put like a daisy in there or something. Alrighty everyone, that is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to smash the like button down below and hit that big red subscribe button. All my social medias are always in the description: Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. If you ever want to DM me on any of those and ask more questions for a future Q&A, or if you just want to talk, they're always in the description, especially on Instagram. I'm always on there. So yeah, that is it for today's video. I really hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks guys, bye. Hope you had an amazing Valentine's Day.